Welcome back to Worthwhile News. As of this recording, the next patch is going to be live tomorrow, so be sure to hit the subscribe button. Let's talk all about what's coming. In the terms of dev blogs, there's not too much to talk about them, as I showed off every vehicle coming in the patch in my last video, but there are a lot of other things not happening on the dev server that it would be interesting to discuss, as some things could change when the patch finally drops. As well as there was a Q&A about people's opinion of the current state of the game, and I think I could go over that and show my opinion on some of the questions. So starting off, there was a dev blog for the ZTZ96A, and well, it's the ZTZ96A, it's like a better ZTZ96. However, there was some complaints from Chinese players saying that there are certain aspects of this tank that its armor was not modeled correctly. Most of this discussion happens in Chinese on Chinese forums, but one person decided to bring it to the official War Thunder forums in English, well, mostly English, stating that FY4 and FY2, the ERA on the Chinese tanks, has basically the same effect, and even FY4 does not work effectively, which makes Chinese players very angry. This is even considered by some players as a form of discrimination against Chinese vehicles by Gaijin. You see, the last bit there made me chuckle a little bit because Gaijin has a habit of mismodeling vehicles of every nation. The STA-1s had tiny turrets for far too long. The Type 90 and I think also the Abrams have a artificially large weak spot of the turret ring, which is wider than it should be. The Abrams cannot angle its gun behind itself at a flat level, even though it should. I'm pretty sure the Bearcat models are still messed up, and I've heard many complaints about the F4JB also having a terrible model. And as for armor values, well, that's a whole nother story actually, because I'll tell you, China nor Russia or Germany or America or any modern nation is telling Gaijin the actual armor values of any of their tanks. The way Gaijin models top tier armor is based off estimations. Now, they're not just guesstimations like you or I would do if we saw the tank and just assumed. There is a good amount of math and science that goes into it, but at the end of the day, it is estimations. My take on it all is that there's not much realism left in the game, and you'd have a better case for discrimination on the fact that the Chinese tech tree is mostly copy-paste and Gaijin put zero effort into actually making the tree its own thing. Because there are plenty of Chinese tanks and planes that I have pointed out many times that for whatever reason Gaijin decided not even look into. There's a dev blog for the Rad Panzer, which looks pretty rad. Also one for the PVRBV551, which is probably one of the most boring vehicles you could put a dev blog on. Really should have done it with the STRV74. That's at least an interesting looking vehicle. They did have one on the USH405, which is definitely an interesting looking vehicle. However, not the first rocket vehicle added to the main tech tree, as the French had a ATGM tank that could shoot rockets as well, added a bit ago. One of the two dev blogs that people are actually going to care about is for the AH-64 Apache, as there was quite a few rumors of this thing apparently not coming in the patch. Mostly produced by the store team dude being very dismissive of the fact that it could come, even though it was in the dev server. But the most noticeable part about the AH-64 Apache dev blog was the cons was just a dude. I don't know what you call this thing. There's been quite a few Dovebleg memes in this season of Doveblegs, so I'm not too surprised, I guess. Anyways, what we know we're going to be getting is what came in the dev server, plus the AH-64 P10, as that's what the little video is for. No word on the YH-64 though. However, the odd part is, so far not on the Gaijin store, Xbox store, or PlayStation store has a AH-64 P10 pack appeared. Quite odd, as they have plenty of other packs up for pre-order, but why not the Apache? The final dev blog, and one that brings most interest in it as it didn't get a lot of cover on the dev server, was for new onboard aviation systems, which covered the addition of flares, the constantly computed impact point, ground target detection radar, and the new multifunction menu. I did actually cover flares in my last video, and they are pretty neat and work as intended. You drop a bunch of flares and the missile flies off. The CCIP is actually a really cool addition that I did not cover at all really in my last video, probably because it actually makes a very little impact on gameplay. Essentially what it does is you lock onto an enemy target and your gun will always be pointing towards that target, and you can shoot at the target while trying to fly your helicopter or facing away from it. It's pretty neat, but unfortunately the AI is kind of bad. I had often would shoot the radar dish of the enemy vehicle and not the vehicle itself, but for the most part, if you're that close to an enemy tank, they will just shoot you before you can lock onto them and do any damage with your gun. I did notice, however, that you could use it against enemy aircraft, either helicopters or jets, which you'd think, oh, that's pretty cool. I can just have lock onto the jet and the gunner will take care of all the aiming so I can protect myself. No, it's far too inaccurate to actually hit any aircraft. Maybe helicopters because they move slow, but jets, you're not going to have much luck. Ground radar is pretty neat. However, I don't think it actually does much besides tell you that there's targets in front of you, which typically hopefully you can see already. The multifunction menu, I think it will be a very neat addition, as there's plenty of times where I forget what button turns off my cockpit light or opens it up. So it'll be nice to be able to go into the menu and press that if I want to do silly things with my friends. However, beyond that, it's not fast enough to really be useful in combat. Although I have boomer typing speed, so I don't know, maybe some of you Zoomers could make use of it. The other story I want to bring up is that there's this poll going around for Gaijin to collect information on people's current thoughts of the game. I thought maybe I should go through this and express my thoughts about it. So the first question was, how much do you like the game on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 where I do not like it? And I chose a 3. Originally I chose a 5 because I like the game, but then I remembered all the things I don't like about the game, so I picked 3 because there's quite a lot of things over the years that I've been playing this that have bugged me quite a bit. And perhaps those will become more apparent as I read the rest of these questions. The second one being, could you list the reasons why you play? Choose all that apply. And the top one was interesting military vehicles with frequent additions. And this is definitely true of the game. There are a lot of very interesting vehicles and always new ones being added. However, I feel a lot of the new ones being added, as of at least recent, are mostly top tier ones that are kind of what you expect. Like, I really like the bizarre ones that you don't know about till the game introduces you to them. And not the obscure bizarre prototypes from Germany or Japan. America had a lot of interesting aircraft and tanks that could be added that they kind of just skipped over. Like, there's no M60 AVRE, no early helicopters, but of course we do have the M1 Abrams, M1 IP, M1A1 Abrams, and M1A2 Abrams. But I'm not going to rip on too hard as there are plenty of bizarre modern vehicles that are added. Next one down is the historical authenticity of events and vehicles. I don't remember the last time we had a historical event, and none of the stats in the vehicles are really historical. Well, some of them are, but the penetrations and the armor values of the modern ones are not historical in any sense. So you can't select that one. The beautiful graphics have aged, unfortunately. They were pretty nice at one time, but the game has struggled to keep up with other games out there. Enjoy the atmosphere and combat dynamic. Kind of odd to mix those two together, because I see combat dynamic as like gameplay strategies, but atmosphere is like gun sounds. The gun sounds are pretty alright. The new ones sound better, I guess, and I guess you could count that as a point, but the combat dynamic, I can't think of many military situations in which the objective was to capture a giant circle on the ground. And that's the only game mode for tanks and boats. Well, we have enduring confrontation for boats now, but even then you're still just technically capturing circles. Next possible choice was like the ability to switch between aircraft, ground vehicles, and navy. This was one of the ones I selected, though it's not entirely truthful because there is no game mode in which you can select to either play a tank, an aircraft, or a boat. Navy is confined to boats and aircraft, and tanks are confined to tanks and aircraft are just confined to aircraft. They don't combine those any further, which is a huge disappointment. Following one is interesting game modes, objectives, and events, which I think I already explained why I would not select that one. The game modes are not interesting. Here's a random tangent about a possible game mode that they could add, maybe. I got this from a random message on the in-game chat, of all things. I don't remember who it was, but his idea was essentially gun game from Call of Duty or whatever, but in tanks. So you drive around, I would assume a low-tier tank at first, like a reserve level, and you kill an enemy, and then you get upgraded to a better tank. And then you drive around and get another kill, and you upgrade your tank to a higher level one, and eventually you get to top-tier stuff, and you have to fight other people who are there, and whoever gets a kill in the top-tier tank wins the game. And I think there's some other rules to gun game, like maybe if you get killed, you go down a level. I don't remember them all, but it's an interesting idea, and I think it'd be kind of cool to see in-game. It would also be neat to see it with aircraft, because you could do that, and then you could kill a jet with a biplane. I think it'd be a pretty cool game mode to see, but let's get back to what we're talking about, these questions. The choice I went with, I play with friends, we have a good team. Well, we don't actually have a good team, but playing the game with friends is quite a lot of fun, and I have been having some fun doing squadron battles and losing a lot. After that was a choice that doesn't apply to me. The game runs well on low, powerful computers. My computer is a beast that costs far too much money. And the second to last one, which is a bit of mean, I've put a lot of time and resources into the game, and I don't want to throw that away. The final option was your own answer. I should have written down I make YouTube videos from the game, but I was feeling far too lazy. The question following that one was, what force would you want most to see developed? And I found this one was a bit of a trick question. The answers were piston engine aircraft, jet aircraft, helicopters, ground vehicles, and navy. And I don't really want to see any of them neglected, though, as As much as I don't like helicopters, there are people who love helicopters and want to see more helicopters. And I would actually like to see some earlier non-ATGM helicopters. There are a lot of piston-driven aircraft that aren't in the game, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't add more jets. I went with Navy because, let's be serious, Navy is halfway done. The trees aren't even full. Another multiple choice question: do you have any desire to quit the game? If so, why? Top question, of course. Classic. No, I'm happy with the game. Aren't we all? Following that is yes, the game is too difficult to understand, which I guess could be a perspective of a new player, but for me, all the controls and everything have been tattooed to my brain. The next few answers are quite quality. Yes, the grind is too repetitive, no variety. You don't say. Yes, it has too many bugs. Let's hope they fix quite a few of those in the next patch. Yes, there are issues with economic balance. Not sure if I need to comment on that one. Yes, there are issues with game balance, combat tiers, vehicle capabilities, etc. Now, being able to use ATGM's 10 kilometers, that's totally balanced, totally fine. No issues with balance in War Thunder. Yes, wait for battles is too long. This one I've never actually had too much of an issue with. Sometimes you'll get like 10 minutes, but honestly, 1 to 2 minutes is kind of fine to me. Though I've heard people complain in other games that having like a minute wait time is just too much. The game takes too much of my time. Yeah, it does. I don't win as often as I would like. Well, my son, you gotta get good. I don't like the way my favorite vehicle has been implemented. A lot of people get annoyed by that. And finally, yes, I've been playing this game for too long and it's hard to surprise me with something new. Of course, I said, no, I'm happy with the game because I make YouTube videos from it. The question I liked most was right after that. Tell us what you would most like to see from our development team. Please rate brief points, no more than 3 ideas. I wrote down 2 ideas. The first one was a game mode that incorporates boats, tanks, and planes all into the same map. That would be the one thing that makes this game really stand out against its competitors. And the other idea I had was to add the OI super heavy Japanese tank. The following question was, how would you rate the news and updates about the game? Answers being that I don't actively follow them, I just play occasionally, check the news in the launcher. There is enough information for me. I can gradually find news and answers I need, but it takes effort. Sometimes there isn't enough information and finding answers can be difficult. Rather unhappy with the situation. I can't really answer any of these questions because, well, I find it pretty easy to find information. That's kind of like what I do all the time. And I do search quite a lot. It takes a good amount of effort to get all the information for some of the really detailed versions of these videos. So I guess there is enough information for me. And there's a question asking which type of news updates of theirs do I follow. It's obvious, developer diaries. Like, who else checks anything else? Does anyone even care about the monthly Warbond shop announcements? The second and last question was asking if you use forums or other social media to get information or express your opinion about the games. And I love the first choice of, no, I don't. I just play. Then wait, how did you find this Q&A? It's not even posted on their front page. But unfortunately enough, there was no Discord or YouTube, so I had to click the official forums, and I visit third-party sites. And the final one was asking how you rate your communication with the War Thunder team. And I said I was very dissatisfied, because honestly, even talking to the forum staff, I feel like I'm not getting any direct information. As oftentimes, they won't answer your question, or will actually post misinformation, like this time when Smin1080p said that in reference to the copy-paste Chinese tree. However, every single aircraft in the branch had to have entirely new skins also create. This alone is no small task and took a considerable amount of time and research. Which sounds reasonable at face value, but there's a skin pack on the warthunder.live page that holds all the skins of the current Chinese vehicles, and then some, and these skins were pulled from the files, not created by a user. And this was posted to the .live page in 2015 and updated in 2016. So perhaps 5 years ago, it took a lot of time and effort to research, but I wouldn't really consider that to apply today. But that's the Q&A for you. I should have it pinned in the top comment if you want to give Gaijin a piece of your mind. But the patch should probably be out by the time I finish this video and get it uploaded, so I hope you're enjoying that. I'll have some information to cover that, and I probably will do a live stream over it. So before I end this video, first I'd like to thank my YouTube members, starting with the Royal Rat, John is having a divorce, Tex, One Max, Roger Rammer, Grimace, I like them thick, who has an appropriate profile picture this time, Mighty Peppers, Pointless Gun Sneaks, and Waffly Joker 6. A big thank you to all of them. YouTube members get videos uploaded a little bit early, emojis during streams, and a unique Discord role. So if you'd like to join on the cost of $5 a month, then you have to hit the join button down below. Have any comments, questions, or concerns, you can hit me up down below or on my Discord. If you've liked this video, be sure to hit the like button. If you didn't like the video, don't hit the like button. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. I make 1-3 weekly news videos every Sunday. I make random videos throughout the week, and I like to stream on Saturdays. So be sure to hit the bell icon to be notified anytime I upload a thing. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a great day. In the terms of bonus news, the update is out.